Welcome to another episode of The Suspendables with funny man Jungle Jim Jerome and retired NHL star Russ Courtnall. Each week they unleash their raw, stripped down, unfiltered opinions on all things hockey and maybe other stuff too. Who knows? Inside stories, absolutely. Outrage, guaranteed. Offside, for sure. And always plenty of laughs. Strap in. The Suspendables is coming at you right now.
Okay, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Suspendables. I'm Jungle Jim Jerome, and he's Russ Courtnall. I believe down in L.A. Welcome to the program, everybody. I'll bring Russ on in a second. Huge news, Rusty. Huge news. We've got a website.
Oh, my God.
I'll see. I can tell you're just knocked out by that.
Oh, your web used to be the corner bar at the Berry Tees.
Yeah, that's if you wanted to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Don't laugh. I know some drunks, former drunks who, we're at the bar so much that they used to bring their office into there. I know a couple of guys who ran a couple of construction companies that they just set up all their stuff there. Anyway, we got a website, folks, suspendables.ca, and all of our stuff is on there now. We got Twitter and Instagram and a YouTube channel and Facebook and all that stuff. So I was just looking, Russ. We've got a Twitter account, and we're following 0 people, and we have 0 followers.
Oh, boy.
So if you're hearing this, you could be. I think we'd have to send you something if you're going to be the first follower on our Twitter page. You're going to get something for it.
Send you one of these.
Thanks to David and Reg and all the people who put it all together, and we finally got her up and going. So we want to grow it. Also on there is the Shop Now button, Rusty, with our merchandise.
Woo!
We haven't talked about it very much lately, but it's Christmas time, and if you want to get your order and go to the website. I love saying that, Rusty. Go to the website, and there's a bunch of really cool stuff on there that you can order up. We appreciate it. Bunch of stuff happening this week, Rusty. One is the World Juniors. We're in the middle of it. The training camp, longest training camp ever, has been in Red Deer, but they had to shut it down. I'll read you something about COVID in Alberta. We have identified 1,836 new cases with 19,000 active cases across Alberta. I'm sad to report an additional 19 deaths. And she wanted to extend her sympathies to all those grieving. So not good here, Rusty. Not good here. So they shut down the junior camp. They were talking about putting it in a bubble here in Edmonton. But let's look at a positive side of the World Juniors, Rusty. We want to talk about that. Some coaches getting fired in the world of sports. I want you to weigh in on that. When are they supposed to be fireable? What's it mean to lose a room? I hear that a lot in sports. The guy, either the coach or the captain or something, they lost a room. What's the toughest part about being a pro athlete? Everyone gives them the business, saying you make too much money, so shut up about the difficult life. Christmas time, bunch of people buy sports books, Rusty. My buddy just told me the Knuckles Nilan book is really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be great.
Yeah, what's his story, Russ? Because I think he led a pretty checkered life past, but came out of it, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a really good long career, and then after his career, he fell on. He got hooked on drugs, and I don't know if it was because of surgery or what, but he cranked it up a notch and was the first line center at the bar, and on the power play penalty kill, never came off the ice. So Nux, I ran into him at Cam Neely's golf tournament in the summer months years ago, and we were passing each other on the golf course, and it was. And I said, "Hey, Nux, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Rusty, how are you, buddy?" And I go, "Great." He goes, "Did you hear the bang out on the West Coast?" And I go, no. He goes, when I hit rock bottom. And he said it in front of everyone. So he obviously was so on his way to being sober and getting his life back together. But, went through some tough times. I mean, better than anybody and you can relate. And he sounds like, I haven't seen him in a while, but by everything I've heard, it sounds like he's doing really well.
There's nothing like the comeback story, Russ, in sports. When guys dig themselves out of the depths of despair. And I think Nilan, you were right. What happens to a lot of athletes is they're non-drug guys, non-boozer guys to start off with, and then they get injured and they get on some painkillers. And they're playing through pain. That's always a debatable thing, right? About pro leagues when you got a star on your team and he's in pain and probably, particularly with all the talk about concussions, probably a guy shouldn't play, but they're kind of edging him towards, you'll be all right, take this and things will be fine. And I think that's what happened. And I think that's what happened with Knuckles. How did you, Rusty, avoid the temptation of all that stuff, of being a pro athlete? And, there's no life like it, like you've said, and playing in the NHL is a dream come true. And with it comes a first-class life, the best hotels and meeting all sorts of people and making big money and being a celebrity. But with it, there's been many books written. I'm flipping through the Derek Sanderson book, and I want to read this Nilan book. Were you ever faced with it, Russ? Do you recall any of that going, God, I'm going to have to be careful here about avoiding a bunch of temptation as an athlete?
Not really. I really was fortunate when I was 18 and 19 to hang out with Gary Nilan, who's a year older than me, in Toronto. And his dad was a RCMP officer in Vancouver. And Gary said to me one night, I'll never forget, he goes, we can never do cocaine because we'll probably like it and we can afford it. And so his dad had really helped him along the way about, watch out for this, watch out for that. And there was nobody in my family that used drugs. When my dad was alive, he liked his Bacardis and Cokes, but never, I saw him hammered a few times maybe, but maybe he'd been hammered more often, but I was asleep, but never saw a serious drinking problem. And I don't know, I was brought up the right way. I love to have fun, and my wife would probably argue that I should probably push the brakes once in a while, but but during my playing days, I had a lot of fun, and I was the first guy, wanting to go out and have a good time and party with my teammates. But as a professional athlete, played 16 years, and to do that, you have to be a professional, and you have to be prepared to play all the time. And never saw. I might have saw a couple guys in my career that maybe I thought had a problem, but drugs were not an issue. I just couldn't imagine guys doing drugs and playing hockey. But what I saw towards the end of my career was the sleeping pills. They were you could get sleeping pills all the time from the trainers, and so guys were taking those like crazy. To just go to sleep, and I refused. I tried it, and it made me feel like shit. So the next day I felt terrible. So
were you ever offered drugs, Russ?
Oh yeah. People asked you, not all the time, because obviously they didn't want to lose hanging out with you. But if you got around somebody, I had some close friends in my hometown that I had no idea were doing blow, and my brother finally told me, he goes, those guys you hang out with, they're freaking doing coke all the time. I'm like, no way. And then I started kind of paying attention, and they would pick it up a notch towards midnight, and be able to drink more. And And I was just a good drinker, so I didn't need help. And I always joke with people like, I said, I'm a +3 drinker. I don't need to be better than I am, so I'm not doing anything that's going to help me drink more.
Right. Well, that's kind of the evil side of that drug, because I was a cocaine addict.
Right.
And I'm in recovery and have been for several years. But your story is not alone, where someone eventually fills you in and says, those guys are doing blow all the time, right? Fuck, I had no idea. I had no idea. So, what did you do with others, Russ? That you'd mentioned that briefly a minute ago about other players that you could see slipping down the slippery slope. Did you ever have to have conversations with, particularly as a veteran, with younger guys coming in? What do they do, Russ? Do they have talks with these guys? Do they? Is it just coming from the coach, or do they get someone to come in and speak to them about the perils of temptation?
I never saw a player lose his job because I never saw a veteran player lose his job because of a problem that he might have had. But there was probably some players that didn't make it to the pros that should have, that were, doing shit they shouldn't have been doing. But I saw some really good veterans who could drink. And, one who's sober now is Esa Tikkanen. He was amazing. Like, that guy put me to shame, and he could just, and he drank vodka where we were mainly just beer guys.
Right.
After games we would do shots, but he would be drinking hard stuff, and we were all drinking beer. Anyways, I didn't see it. I didn't really see it. And Bill Derlego was a pretty good drinker back in the day. I don't know if Billy's sober or not, but he could sure drink with the best of them. Was a hell of a hockey player. My God, he could score 40 goals with his freaking eyes closed. He's just an awesome player, and he could put them away. But never saw anybody to the point where they had to go to get therapy or anything like that. That just seems to be a new thing, and I don't know if it's because players are doing hard drugs or what, but I never saw anyone like quit. I don't think I ever saw anyone who quit drinking during their career. I don't think. Well, I mean, I can't think of one person. So
Tikkanen was the guy I used to nuzzle up to because he was such a good. I did. The Oilers were thick as thieves.
Oh my gosh!
And they had great parties, and they did everything together away from the game itself. And Glennie Anderson used to have some fantastic parties, and Kevin Lowe had a really cool house with an indoor swimming pool. And I remember it was post Stanley Cup win, so the party went on for I mean, days. There was no clock. There was no clock, right? Yeah. It was just crazy, and I was right in there. And Kevin had a big party. Everyone's having a gas, just a riot in the pool, and everyone. And then Mess looks up and goes, "Where's Andy?" Like he never misses any. And as soon as he says, "There's the doorbell rings," the door opens, he comes in, and Glennie Anderson has a surfboard.
With my God,
yeah, and into the pool. He went with the surfboard, but yeah, Teak was. He was a Class A guy, so.
I'll tell you a quick story about Tick. Tick and I get traded to New York Rangers from Vancouver Canucks in 1997. And we're going, it's going to be great. We got Mess there and Gretz, and Tick and I are leaving Vancouver. We were struggling there as a team. And so we go there, and Gretz says, "Hey, I own part of the All-Star Cafe down in Times Square. You guys go down there and eat and drink for free. Everybody gets to eat and drink for free." And
yeah, it was right across the street, right, from Madison Square Gardens?
I never went.
Oh.
I never went. So Tick had 3 buddies fly in from Finland.
Yeah.
And they never left. Tick only left to go to practice. Come home, have a nap, go to practice, go back. And they kept drinking all their vodka. And Gretz called me and said, hey, are you with Tick? And I'm like, no, he's up at your bar. He goes, oh yeah, I know he's there. He goes, frickin', they're running out of vodka every day. And that was a huge bar. I mean, I've been to the bar itself. I went before I was a Ranger, and so you went up those big stairs, big place.
Right.
And Tick and his three buddies were just knocking him off every day. Gretz is like, get those guys out of here. Oh my God, they're drinking vodka like water.
Right. Well, Mess always said one of the toughest, because I want to ask you what's the toughest part about being an athlete, a pro athlete, with all that, the temptation and other stuff that makes it difficult. But I remember asking Mess, what's those practices, slots putting you through the paces, man. What's the hardest exercise, What's the hardest deal? And he always said, skating around the back of the net, the coaches are standing in the corner, so you're doing laps.
I know what
you're doing laps. And the best thing you can ever teach a hockey player right away is when you skate by those coaches, so you're turning to your left, okay? But you got to, you want to, your tendency is to have your face turning to the right when you go left.
Hold your breath.
You got to learn how to hold your breath and turn your head away from the coaches when you're flying by them, So, anyway, I don't know what Tick's. Is he with the national team now?
I don't know what Tick's doing.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah,
would
love to get him on the show. He'd be great. Oh my
Fantastic. God. Yeah, I'm marking that down right now.
No one will understand a word he says, but it'll be fun trying to figure it out.
Tikkanese. Then you learn how to speak Tikkanese. My favorite story of him was Mac T had a party. We had fireworks. Okay, he lived in a cul-de-sac in a dead end in his house, where his house was, and we all went out into the street, and we had not just firecrackers, Russ. We had the industrial-size fireworks. Okay,
oh boy,
the big tubes, with 3 wicks on them, and when you're gonna fire these things off, you got to sit them in a pail of sand and then get the fuck out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're Esa Tikkanen, and he held it in his hand like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. He was a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah,
he never fought, but he was a tough son of a bitch.
A reminder, you can follow the Suspendables on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And check out our new website, thesuspendables.ca.
So when you look at all this stuff, Rusty, practices, temptations, and all that, when you look back, and I'm borrowing this from someone who emailed us and said, what does Russ think is the toughest part of being a pro hockey player?
Wow. It's such a pleasure to be a professional athlete. I mean, it's such a gift and such a blessing. And I'd say the toughest part is when things are not going your way, or you're on a team where it's your team, you're struggling, the team's struggling. That is no fun. And the pressure that the media puts on you when you're not playing well, or a coach that doesn't like you because for whatever reason you're not playing well, or he just doesn't like you. I'd say that's the worst part, is the bullshit that comes along with being a paid professional athlete. The fun stuff is unbelievable.
Go back though. What do you mean the bullshit that comes along with?
Well, they shit on you. They frickin', they manipulate you. They can ruin you, and instead of building somebody up, they can rip a guy down. You do something wrong, they can get you traded, sent to the minors at a certain point of your career. So they can, if you get on the wrong side of a coach, you can get screwed really bad. There's nothing better than when your team's doing well and everybody's like in it together and things are just clicking and it's so much fun, and the coaching staff's relaxed because you're playing well and winning. But when the shit hits the fan, it's like, it can be you can get into a situation where it's every man for himself, and that's including the coaching staff, because they want to save their jobs too.
Right.
So
it's sort of a weird dynamic.
Yeah, because when Cam Neely was trying to make his comeback in Boston, he called me and he said, I said, I called him, how's it going? He goes, I forgot about all the bullshit, going in, when you're hurt, you got to spend more time at the rink. When you're playing, you go in, you get ready, you practice, you leave the building. When you're injured, they've got you all frickin' day, therapy and workouts. And he goes, I forgot about all the bullshit.
Right.
And that's part of it, the stuff that's no fun, behind the scenes that people don't see. But it's a blessing to be able to get paid to do something you love for as long as you're able to do it. And so I look at my career at all the positive stuff. But when you start asking me questions, I start reminiscing about some of the things that didn't go my way or whatever, and or I created. And so but for the most part, whenever I talk to a player, we just like sit there and laugh and giggle and talk about all the good times.
Right.
We don't sit around a bar at Gaza Ranch or wherever and go, oh, let's talk about all the shitty stories of our careers.
Right.
Like it's one great funny story about yourself or about a player, teammate, experiences. So it's just we're all lucky.
Yeah. I forget who it was when he was posed that same question. What do you find the toughest part about being an NHL player? And he said, nothing.
It's a great answer.
Yeah, nothing at all. Yeah, it was like Gretzky's answer when they said, who's the toughest goalie you ever faced? And he said, yeah, I didn't find many of them very tough.
Yeah. Oh, that was true for him.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you saw that this week. There's so many records in the NHL. There's, hundreds and hundreds of records that guys hold. And, of course, the great one holds a bunch of them. Story came out this week that someone, an auction house, has got their hands, I don't know how long they've had it, on the goal scoring, the tying goal scoring for all-time goals, stick. They've got the stick. And they figure it might be the first big deal to go for $1 million. And then I saw something else. His rookie card. His rookie card has come out and it'll be $1 million. And then I saw the story about someone selling the stick. We had the collectible guy on, Mark Rubin. And it seems like a really odd time, Russ, in COVID right now, where people don't have any money, that these guys decide to put this stuff up for auction. Kind of weird.
There's lots of people with lots of money.
How do you know that? No, I know.
Well, I'll give you an example. Discovery Land Company, since COVID, have sold $2 billion worth of real estate.
No kidding.
Yeah. There's people buying homes in Hawaii on FaceTime for $10 million.
Come on sight unseen?
Yeah. Well, they're seeing them on their phone.
Online.
No, there's so much money out there. Of course, we all, like, people, and that's not everyone, of course, but there are a lot of people with a shit ton of money right now. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people with no money. Mm-hmm. And it's really sad, with all these restaurants being shut down, businesses being shut down, people are losing their jobs left and right. But there are some people with ridiculous amount of money and they're bored at home. Mm-hmm. And the high-end car market's crazy. Stock market, people are day trading now that people are betting more than they've ever bet, drinking more than they've ever drank. Collectibles are collectibles. And, COVID has done some things for people that, when I was up in Idaho, you couldn't find an ATV for 2 months in Idaho. They were all gone. They were all sold. People had bought every ATV up there to go, mm-hmm. weekend, flying around in the bushes.
Well, it's a galvanizing thing, right? When this pandemic, right? It's because the walls are caving in on me a little bit. I'm alone at home, and I'm getting really nervous, particularly here in Alberta, and I just don't leave my house.
Did I not send you the photo that Kelly Chase sent me of the San Francisco bridge?
No.
So the caption is a picture of the bridge. And it says, this bridge is 99, and this relates to COVID. This bridge is 99.97% safe. but I'm going to swim across.
Wow.
And if you think about it, be safe, be smart.
Right.
But you should not be frightened. You should not be frightened.
Well, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the media has frightened everybody, but facts are facts and opinions are opinions. And I go to the store, I wear my mask. I wash my hands. I mean, we're not going to big parties.
Right. Yeah, what it has done for me is I started walking, right? I told you that. And
Stalker!
Because I'm going out of my mind in my house. And anyway, I've lost 15 pounds, Russ, in the last 3 weeks.
Good for you.
Yeah. Just from walking and stress, I'm sure.
And stress, yeah.
Anyway, all that news that, which hasn't been great. They're terrible times, and people are getting on edge for sure. Like I read to you at the start with the statement from the health minister here about it's not good. However, Russ, I just heard, Stevie heard somewhere, our producer, that there's 250,000 vaccines coming to Canada by the end of the year.
Wow.
I just got that now. So, boy, is that ever good. Boy, is that ever good to hear.
Is the school teacher going to take it first?
The health minister, you mean?
No, Trudeau. Isn't he a school teacher? Or was a school teacher?
Don't start, okay? Don't start.
Well, he wasn't he?
He was a theater arts student.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we've got... Anyone can be prime minister. Smoke pot and take up acting. That's unfair. I loved his dad, and I like him. He's a good guy.
Hung out with his dad at at a bar in Montreal one night, DeSalvio's. I got to meet him.
Pierre
cool.
Elliott.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was on one side of the bar, and I was on the other. I was in this cool little Italian nightclub, and he would have been in his 70s, and I was in my 20s, and the waitress came up to me, who I obviously knew because I went there a lot. She goes, Pierre Trudeau's over there, and I went, no way. So I walked over and said hello, and he had a freaking couch full of beautiful young women, and just sitting there having a cocktail and enjoying the music. He was super cool.
Cool guy. Cool guy. I'll tell you a personal story about him. A lot of people know this, but some don't. So my father was a member of Parliament for Sudbury, and then he got in as a member of Parliament in 1968 as a Liberal under Trudeau. That was the big Trudeau sweep. And he ended up later on in his political career being appointed Speaker of the House in 1974. And every year, so we moved to Ottawa, and every year the Speaker hosted a spring gala, a big spring party. And this was right after Trudeau got divorced from Margaret, and he was single. And anyway, he shows up at this party with all his security detail. And my father had invited a bunch of friends from Sudbury, and everyone was having a great time. It was outdoors on the front yard of the house. And my dad said, take the Prime Minister around, right? And so I'm 13, okay, Rusty? He says, take the Prime Minister around and introduce him to all our friends from Sudbury, Of course, they'd love it. The guy was a star, okay? The guy was a superstar. And women loved him, okay? He was suave, he was cool, he was smart, bilingual, of course, French Canadian. So anyway, I'm taking him around, okay? And, meet so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, all these friends. And then we come to a group of people, okay, as I'm leading him, and he was super cool. He said, he's calling me by my nickname, Jungle. Where are we off to next? And,
Jungle, where do we go next?
As I tell the story, what a great story, huh? So then there's a group of people there, and one of them is the tennis pro at this club where we all played tennis, and
of course you did.
And
Silver Spooner.
Exactly. And with this tennis pro guy, Ian was his name, and he's got this girl with him. Okay, beautiful looking girl, and I'm saying, Mr. Prime Minister, and he says to me, Pierre. Call me Pierre, right? And I'm going, what?
Okay.
I'm 13, okay?
Yeah.
I said, if my old man ever heard that, he'd kill me. So I go, Mr. Prime Minister, this is so-and-so Ian, and he's a tennis pro, and there's, Danny Newell and Johnny Brown and that. And he sort of just shoves me aside and goes right to the girl and says, sort of really in a low, Mel Torme velvet voice goes, "Are you a tennis professional?" and the girl goes, he's busting a move, Rusty.
Yeah.
Okay. And the girl says, she's British. She goes, "No, I'm a squash professional." He goes, "I love squash."
The French and the English accent going back too.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly. I love squash. He was a super cool guy. Let's talk about the World Juniors, Rusty. You were a member.
Yes.
Of the World Junior team. These are uncertain times, of course. The training camps in Red Deer got shut down. They had to quarantine. I think they're still under quarantine. The whole idea was for them to play the tournament, the World Junior tournament in Edmonton under a bubble. I didn't see how they're going to be able to do that because of how much it costs to do it. But maybe Hockey Canada's got a bunch of money. But in the meantime, it's on hold. Mm-hmm. Talk about your experience, Russ. I've always thought when I watch the World Junior, it's a massively viewed tournament. It's huge, just by the name itself. And I always remember this, Russ, watching it at the end, the gold medal game. And, Canada's won it before and how exciting that is. But then the camera pans over, Russ, to the losing team.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon to see these kids beyond devastation.
Yeah.
Crying, not just crying, shedding a tear, sobbing. And I went, this is too much, man. This is too much to put on a kid's shoulders.
So these players all grew up watching this. They watch the World Juniors, and it's their first time on that stage and on TV like that internationally. And it's a big deal, and their families are usually there, or at least they're watching. And so they're devastated because they all want to win the gold medal, obviously, and they're freaking good. Those teams are really, really good, and they all feel like now they have a chance. Where when I played, it was usually going to be Russia, Canada, or Sweden, or Finland. It was kind of those teams. And then after, in the 90s, the U.S. really started picking up their talent level became
their game,
massive. They have so many good players now. So, anyways, I just think it's the first time they're on that big stage, and they're pumped to win and devastated to lose.
You were captain, Russ, of one of the World Junior teams.
Yeah, 1984. I'm actually sitting at my bar in Westlake Village in California, and I've got two little silver cups that I won when I was there. We didn't win a medal. We lost the bronze medal to Czechoslovakia.
Right.
And it was a bummer.
You got a bunch of points in the tournament. You were good. How did you get selected as captain, Russ? How did that process work?
So Brian Kilrea was my coach, and he just quietly took me aside one day, not a big announcement, and said, "You're my captain, and come see me." He says one night, night before games, he'd say, "I'll be in the bar. Come down and see me for a second. Go make sure everybody's in their room at 10 o'clock or something." And he'd go, "Curfew's at 10 o'clock tonight." And I'd go around and do room check. And then I was go down and see him a couple times. And he goes, "How's the team doing?" "I'm good." "You want a beer?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'll have a beer."
Yeah. So, and a cigar. Killer smoked a big stove.
Yeah, and his uncle or his brother was there. I don't know, maybe his uncle. And
Jack.
They had a great time. It's too bad we didn't win. We had a couple of tough battles, one with Russia, and anyways.
Yeah. Brian Kilrea, by the way, was the legendary coach of the Ottawa junior team. Ottawa
should have coached the Maple Leafs.
What's that?
He should have been the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He ended up going to the New York Islanders as an assistant coach. And with Toronto, we had a chance to hire him, and we didn't. And it was really unfortunate because we had a young team, and he would have been perfect. He would have been just perfect because he was a great, great coach.
Well, he held the I think he held the record, Russ, for
Yeah.
junior, for like all-time victories in hockey. Period.
Yeah. Pat Quinn reminded Brian Kilrea and Pat Quinn were very similar. The way they treated you like a man. They expected you to come every day and work your hardest and be your best, and they wanted you to be your best. And then when you failed in work ethic or something, when they came down on you, it was brutal because you didn't want to let them down.
Right.
And when they got pissed off, the whole room would be like, oh shit, we got to get our act together.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So he would have been. I think he would have been great in Toronto for us at that time because we were pretty much a glorified junior team with the players we had. We were really, really young.
Russ, that was 36 years ago. That World Junior. Did they have? Was there like a selection camp, Russ, or did you just get asked
Yeah.
Was there a tryout, or did you just get a call and you're on?
So they had a tryout in the summer in Ontario, and it was interesting because Mario Lemieux came to the camp, but he didn't skate. He was either injured but he was there the whole time. Mm-hmm. He didn't skate, and there was a tryout, then inter-squad games, all that, and then you went back to your junior teams, and then Kilrea went around the country watching all the players he had kind of picked and he thought would make it, and then that's how he made the final pick. Was he went around the country and watched everybody, and he said to Lyndon Byers made the team, and he was playing with Dale Derkach, who was one of the best junior players at that time in the country.
Right.
And a little guy. And he goes, Lyndon, when I came and watched you that night in Regina, you must have had the best game of your life because you're god awful.
You had mentioned to me before about Mario Lemieux showed up there?
So he came to our training camp and he was either injured or just didn't skate. I can't remember why, but he didn't go on the ice, and then he didn't come to the World Juniors that year. That was his draft year, and I don't know why he didn't come, but I can't remember why, but he didn't come. And I think maybe because it was his draft year that he didn't come. Then he wanted, put up the numbers, but he was going to be first overall no matter what.
He might have got you better than the bronze medal game.
Well, we would have won gold with Mario.
Yeah. I got the roster in front of me. This is great stuff here. The 1984 Canadian junior team for the World Juniors. You're number one at the top when they list the roster. Gary Lehman, John McLean.
Yeah.
So I don't know all these names, so I'll put you to the test with the pop quiz with the snappers. Okay, the questions. Randy Heath.
Randy Heath was a great Portland Winterhawk, really good goal scorer. I think he scored 70 goals in the WHL one year.
Made it to the NHL?
He did not. He might have had a cup of coffee. He just retired as a captain of a fire department in West Van.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Randy's a great guy.
Where are they now? Dean Evanson.
Dean Evanson, he was a teammate of mine in Dallas. Great guy. He was another big offensive player in the Western Hockey League, captain of the Kamloops Oilers, and then became a two-way defensive player. Mm-hmm. Very gifted, and Dean was a hell of a player.
Dave Gagne, of course, everyone knows.
Yeah, Gags, he was my line mate and teammate in Minnesota and Dallas.
Right. Dale, you had mentioned this guy earlier, Dale Derkach.
Yeah, Dale Derkach, the Rat, was probably one of the best junior hockey players of our era, and because of his size, he didn't make it. And it's really unfortunate because you take a Martin St. Louis, God, he was so freaking good, man. Like Gretzky, almost, but just an awesome player.
You weren't that big of a guy, Russ, or you're not that.
No,
big
but like he was, I was. They
Fast.
called me 5'11", but he might have been 5'7". I don't know, 5'6". I don't know how tall.
That
he
ain't
was.
working anymore.
No.
Yeah. Kurt Muller, of course. God, does he deserve a head coaching job somewhere? He had it in Carolina for a while, but God, has he paid his dues as a coach?
Yeah, he has, and you know what? Some guys are just better at being a assistant, and maybe he's happy there. I don't know. I haven't seen Kirk in a while, so I don't know if he still wants to do that, be a head coach, or is he just happy being where he's at?
Right. Great guy. Hilarious guy.
He's an awesome guy.
I'll bang out some other names here. Dan Hodgson.
Another great Western Hockey League junior. Hodgie got drafted to Toronto, played with him a little bit there. He got traded to Vancouver for Jim Benning.
Look at you go.
Hodgie went to Europe and had a great career over there.
Lyndon Byers.
Tough guy, great guy. We went to Notre Dame together, and he was a player that ended up becoming a tough fighter, tough guy in the NHL. But LB was just awesome. He was great human being.
There's also J.J. Daniel and Brad Shaw, Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah.
Sylvain Cote. Mark Patterson. Never heard of him.
Yeah, Mark. I think did Mark play for Kilrea?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sure there must be a couple guys if Kilrea was the coach.
Yeah. No, he had three. I think he had three defensemen from his team.
Was Kenny Reggett your starting goalie?
Yeah, and Alan Bester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there they are. Gary Lacey and Gerald Diddick.
Yeah, Gerald Diddick was played a long time in the NHL,
Right.
New York Islanders, Vancouver Canucks.
I don't want to embarrass myself, but Wendell Clark is not on there. Was he younger?
He wasn't of age. He was. He wasn't. He was still midget hockey that year. Pretty
There you
sure.
go.
Was
God.
he? Or maybe not. Maybe he was playing.
Well, you played with him in Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. If I was 18, yeah, Clarkie, no. I think Clarkie was still in junior.
How old are you there now, Russ?
No, I think he might have been in midget still. I'm not sure. But he was on that team the year after. I'm pretty sure Clarkie
That would make sense. He must have been.
Yeah, oh yeah. He
Won
played.
the World Junior team. 1984, how old were you?
I was 18.
18, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good, Rusty. Love going down memory lane a little bit, and nice recap on all the players, Russ. Before we end the show, Russ, lots happening this week. We talked about it last week. By the way, I had a lot of comments. Mark Mayhew was on, who was last week. We talked to Mark about media rights and the massive money that's into it and stuff like that. And it was very informative. Yeah, people liked it. It was off the page a little bit, but it was great. Part of that we mentioned last week because you guys shut me down. I said I'm tired of all these exhibition things, like the Charles Barkley golf match with Phil, and you said it's for charity, you moron. One of them was this bout. Mike Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr. and on the undercard was this YouTube sensation guy, Jake Paul, who fought a NBA player, 3-time dunk champion, Nate Robinson. It got a lot of hype. A lot of people are looking at it. Out of that, Ross, Evander Kane.
Oh my God!
Okay,
I've seen
Evander Kane with the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
Jumps out of nowhere and says, "I'll fucking fight you. Yeah. I'll fight that guy." And so there's some back and forth. I don't know if they're gonna set one up. I'm kind of laughing about it, but at the same time I'm going, I think I'd like to see that.
Yeah. Oh, now all of a sudden you're into it.
Yeah. Now I'm going, okay.
Last week you thought you were poo-pooing it, saying it was a joke, and now you want to see it.
Well, now they're trying it more. Evander Holyfield came forward and said, "I'll fight Tyson." Okay, I'll fight him. And now Mayweather, and who's supposed to fight him, Stevie? Mayweather that they announced this week.
Jake Paul's brother, Logan.
Oh, yeah. So Jake Paul, this YouTube sensation, he's got a brother, Logan. These guys are all over YouTube and controversial guys. So now Mayweather, they're trying to put together the best boxer in the world, okay, against this, I don't know who he is. So there's more and more of this happening. If I own the San Jose Sharks, Rusty, I'm phoning Evander right away going, you are not fighting. You are not going, you know. What do you think of all that?
No, I mean, hockey players are, you know, we've all had a fight or two. And so I think a player came out and said Evander has boxed maybe in his day. You know,
He has. Yeah.
He's going to have they're going to have enough gear on and stuff. It's going to be an exhibition. It'll be a freaking great workout. And I think he'll be fine. I mean, if it was the kicking stuff, you know, the cage fighting, absolutely not. But a straight boxing match, I don't see what the harm is. I think that he'll be fine. He'll probably kick the living crap out of the guy.
There's not a bunch of sports, right? There's no hockey. There's, you know, baseball, of course, is shut down. The NFL is pulling it off. So I think people are looking for ideas, you know, to give people an outlet. But I'm going to watch it. Yeah. I think
you go. You were converted.
I was converted. If it comes,
you were
together.
COVID boredom converted.
Right. Rusty, that's what we got in the books today. That was great discussion about the World Junior team. Huge day for us, folks. Our website's up. We need some, and you go to the website and everything's on there: Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, and of course our Shop Now button. I'm starting to give it a plug. Buy some merch, okay? Buy some merch. Someone said, "Can I send a hockey card to Russ?" Yeah. I said, "Absolutely. Send 100, okay?" Yeah. But you do that stuff, Russ.
Yeah, I do. I was saying that I get about 10 to 20 letters a week, I think now.
Okay.
I've noticed an uptick, and I don't know how they find my address, but it doesn't matter. We move, boom, within a week, there's a freaking autograph seeker. Eh? Yeah, it's weird. Because I asked a couple other guys. I had Scotty Upshaw and Shane O'Brien up here for golf and dinner a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "So, you guys are getting, you know, autograph seekers too, right?" And they're like, "No." Well, fuck, they haven't found you yet. God damn it!
Yeah, but they will. Anyway, I don't know. Reach out to me or send me a message on our Facebook, and we can make that happen for you. Thanks a lot, Rusty. Anyway, another great show, Rusty in the books. We're back each and every week with another episode of the Suspendables. We invite you to share, like it, and I don't know what else they got to do, Stevie. Download it, subscribe, all that stuff. Yeah, Russ and I are the wrong guys to tell you what to do, and we're the hosts of the show. What's up for the rest of the week, Rusty? Are you Christmas shopping or what?
Oh, no, that's the best part of COVID. I don't have to go shopping.
Oh, you never liked
groceries? I can. Hey, if I could fill stockings in the bottom of the tree with groceries, Costco, I'd be in heaven. But anyways, I'm not doing not too much. I'm
lay low, Rusty. Don't get too brave, okay, with the COVID thing.
I saw John McEnroe playing golf yesterday. I gave him a shot at tequila because he was getting his ass kicked on. I'm on the 13th hole, so he was playing with my buddy, and they were just getting pounded. And he goes, "What? We need something." So I gave my buddy 2 beers, and I gave him a red Solo cup and wrote LFG exclamation mark on it, and gave him a shot. So he liked that.
LFG.
Let's fucking go.
Oh. He probably likes the action. They probably had a little money on.
Oh yeah, he was. He took the red cup and got going. And last week, did I talk about Caitlyn Jenner last?
I forget.
I was in between Caitlyn Jenner and on the driving range at Sherwood, and I was in between Caitlyn and Coach Craig T. Nelson from the show Coach. And
sure.
Craig's a huge hockey fan. We've been friends for a long, probably since 1993 when I first joined Sherwood. And I used to know Bruce and Chris. Obviously now it's Caitlyn, and right. So known them a long time. And we were just talking about kids and, you know, golf and stuff. And anyways, that was interesting, going from Caitlyn to Craig to Caitlyn to Craig.
Some of the old boys club, Rusty, still
Yeah,
must be shaking their head a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
There's no jokes floating around.
That was interesting, yeah.
Okay, Rusty boy. Anyway, another great show. You enjoy your week, and we'll do a show next week for sure. We'll do shows through Christmas, I think.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? We love doing it. We love to hear from you. Go to our website.
Everybody be safe out there. Don't live in fear, but be safe.
That a boy. Yeah, that's a good thing. Take care, everybody, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Suspendables with tons of stuff. Take it easy, everybody. Talk to you next week.
Okay.
The Suspendables is a weekly podcast series featuring former NHLer Russ Courtnall and host Jim Jerome. Join us for new episodes available each Wednesday morning. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We invite you to subscribe and review or share the show with your friends and followers. Check out our website today, thesuspendables.com.